Hello and welcome to Sectors Up Close. I'm Ramzan Karmali. Today we're looking at the consumer staples sector and my guest is Russ Mould, Investment Director at AJ Bell. US stocks in the consumer staples sector have been hit hard this year so far. Historically, they've been seen as a defensive investment, but many investors have abandoned them in favour of less risky US Treasuries. The relentless climb in government bond yields made consumer staple stocks less attractive as the economy remained strong, pushing recession expectations out further. The S&P 500 consumer staples sector has been the second worst performing sector in the large cap benchmark index so far in 2023, and it's on track for its largest yearly drop since 2018, according to FactSet data. So is there anything else behind the sector's poor performance? Well, to help answer that question and more, I'm joined now by Russ Mould, Investment Director at AJ Bell. Russ, am I right in thinking this is all down to interest rates that consumer staples have performed so badly this year?
It's a really good explanation. Some of them are seen as bond proxies effectively, so they're purchased for their yield because they don't necessarily grow that quickly. So yes, if bond yields are rising and prove more relatively attractive than the equity yield, perfectly good reason for abandoning ship and picking up those treasuries. There are other issues involved though. Cost input inflation has been a big challenge for lots of these companies. And also valuation itself, again, with interest rates going up, it's just maths that some of these very highly rated things don't look as attractive if there are better alternatives out there in the fixed income world.
But why do people invest in consumer staples in the first place, though?
Well, that's a really good question. I think for a lot of the time they provide life's essentials, or also a few of life's treats as well. But if you look back to the 1970s, when there was a time of inflation, again, anything that you stuck down your throat or stuck down the sink were actually relatively good performers because of the brands that they have, the customer loyalty that fosters, and the pricing power that it brings. So if you have a business that can charge the price that it wants to charge, not the lowest price the consumer wants to pay, you're potentially in business, and companies like Coca-Cola have proven this over years and years and years. You can gently tweak the price up and the volumes keep on growing.
In recent months, in recent years even, there's been a big rise in anti-obesity drugs. How big an impact is this having on this sector?
Lifestyle considerations are always, and one consumer staple that's clearly been hit hard by lifestyle considerations is tobacco, where you've had health concerns, big regulatory pressure, a respiratory virus pandemic, which also makes people think about what they're putting inside their bodies in terms of smoke. So that's been a big factor there. For the soft drink companies, you've had pushback on sugar. For food producers, the same. So these are issues that we definitely have to consider. And Coke and PepsiCo are down this year, but I think that's probably more again to concerns over their valuation rather than necessarily lifestyle or health style pushback.
And within the sector, there's a wide range, isn't there? So what parts of the sector do you think, these are worth looking at and ones which you're less keen on?
I mean, everything has its price, and some of these names that are getting very sold off, like Diageo, again, alcohol is not everybody's idea of a good time, but Diageo, you'd probably struggle to buy its collection of brands from afresh or set it up from afresh for where its valuation is now. Coke and Pepsi probably getting more interesting for their stability. And if you're an income hunter, hold your nose. Tobacco is offering an enormous yield, and for all the pressure, and we know that volumes are going to be going down over time, they're still able to compensate for that with price increases. So if you're not an ESG investor and you're prepared to farm the income, that might be something you'd like to think about.
Russ Mould, Investment Director at AJ Bell, many thanks for your thoughts.
Thank you.
And that is your roundup of the consumer staples sector. I'm Ramzan Karmali, and this is Reuters.